Hi, my name is Andrea Wolf. My final presentation is on followership and servant leadership. So these two topics have interested me during this whole course, following and the study of following, followership, and servant leadership. I'm going to start the presentation with talking about Jesus, our ultimate model of servant leadership. So he laid down his life so that people could live. So this is ultimately the willingness to serve others is what servant leadership is, the laying down of one's agenda, the laying down of one's life. There's obviously a problem today. This is with leaders, and there's a lot of unethical and immoral leaders, and we're seeing this more and more with social media and just more outlets to share information. We're seeing more bad leaders, so more immoral leaders. So there's definitely an interest in research and an important, there's an importance for us to focus on this during this time that we're living in. So servant leadership is one of the more ethical, moral types of leadership. It's about serving, empowering others, and believing in them. There are different power types that I wanted to go over. So referent, reward, expert, legitimate, coercive, and informational. And so the two types that a servant leader would show would be personal and expert. So a servant leader, their innate, or not, well, I guess you could say innate, their drive, what drives them is that they want to serve others just for the good of serving others. Like, power is no longer just held in their hands, but it's shared, it's given to the followers. This puts the needs of others first. It helps people perform as highly as possible, bringing them to self-actualization, and it reproduces servant leadership. So there are a number of servant leadership characteristics. I'll go over just a few. Building a sense of community, being with like-minded people, having people that are going in the same direction, like a sense of community, sense of family, is what really makes an organization successful. This also shows itself in the community or the city that this group is serving. Outside of the organization, it's common for a servant leader to take their team to go volunteer and to actually give them a broader sense or a bigger picture of what they actually have and what they carry as a group. The servant leader shows empathy, shows foresight, self-awareness, listening, stewardship, healing, and they conceptualize well, meaning they're visionary, they listen to others personally and professionally, and they actually bring healing to a group. So followership strengths, so ego management, awareness of needs for others, discretion, courage, honesty, judgment, competence, collaboration. A lot of the findings in the followership were about team, were about things that you learn from a leader, adding strength to another person's vision. So you're really serving. So you're really serving as a follower. And so this is really important before you become a servant leader. And I actually think a lot of servant leaders have had really good bosses or leaders that they have seen and followed, and they've been able to submit to their vision. And I think this actually creates in them, especially for Christians, a maturity that then can develop into still serving as you become a leader. Because again, the ego management thing that we learn as followers is really important. It's all about humility for the servant leader. Successful followership. So I asked 3 questions to my church contacts, my pastors, and the success of the leadership, the success of their leadership is related to having a season of serving another's vision. I found this very interesting. I knew this would probably be a yes, but almost all of them said yes, they agree. And transformation happens in church communities by servant leaders. They all said yes to this. All of them highly agreed, they highly agreed to leadership is developed by learning how to serve others. And then one of the pastors said that he actually thinks that being a good follower still helps him be a good leader. And he's been serving probably the longest out of all of them, maybe 20, 30 years as a pastor in different settings. But I just found this very interesting, that it does help to have some serving of another person before you actually take the role of servant leadership. So the applications that we can draw from this qualitative study. Servant leadership can be attained by anyone who's willing to serve and make a difference. Good followership helps create effectiveness in organizations and also can develop servant leaders. Serving others in any capacity develops the model of servant leadership.